So this is the new Agile Elite C140. I originally bought DRM 130, I think is what it was called. I'll show you a picture of it, but it was awesome. I really enjoyed the equipment. It was a great roller mill, but when they shipped it, there was an issue. If you watch the other video, the handle was bent, so it must have been dropped on its head. And when I contacted Rio Grande, I told them, you know, I received the mill and it got shipped, it arrived bent, the handle on top. And I showed them a picture and a video, and they agreed that that was definitely something that happened in shipping. So, you know, they worked with me, and I bought the mill because I was getting ready to start a jewelry class, and I really wanted to hit jewelry hard. I really wanted to get into it and have all the stuff I needed to really get into it. So, you know, I bought it for a purpose, and that purpose started last week. And when they told me that it would take about a month to ship the new mill out, I explained my issue and that I needed a mill. So we worked it out to where they sent me this one, and I've bought it, and I'll send the other one back, and then they'll get credited back to my account. So it all worked out perfectly, and the tech team at Rio Grande talked with me about the different mills, which one would be best for me. And after some talking, they actually talked me into this mill, which was about $600 cheaper, and it ends up being so much better of a mill. So the fact that Rio Grande, they didn't have to upsell me anything. They actually helped me out and downsold me about $600 worth to a mill that was better than the one that I had bought. So that's really, to me, that's pretty cool for a company to help you out as a customer like that. That's pretty cool, because I think most companies now would definitely be pushing the more expensive mill because it's just a better profit for them, I would imagine. So, you know, the fact that he really worked with me and helped me out to get me something that I could use that was much better than the original one. This one has different rollers on the side. These change out to comfort band, and there's a whole bunch of different half round rollers. So the options are more. This is 140 millimeters rather than 130. They're both 5-to-1 gear ratio. One thing about the Agile Elite, and I don't know if they all come like this, but when I was using the round, the mill that I had before, I realized that metal would drop out of here, and you would constantly be feeding through, reaching around, feeding through, reaching around. It was just this, it kind of wear you out, and if you didn't grab it, it would come out the back and hit the ground and roll off. So they put this little table on the back side, and it seems like it does two things. One thing is, if you have a small piece of metal, it just spits it out and it lands on that little platform. And another thing it'll do is, if you're feeding metal, I noticed last night, if the metal tries to start curling down, it'll hold it kind of straight from curling. So that's pretty cool as well. I'm very impressed with them. You know, I wasn't sure. This is the one I wanted to buy originally, but they were sold out, so I ended up buying the more expensive one, but it had the half round. I will talk on the half round, or I had the round. So I will talk about the round versus the square groove. So in my head, I thought the round would be best because you wouldn't have to use a draw plate as much, and it's already, you can already have it out in round wire when you get done rolling it to the size you need. I just thought it seemed like it would be a better idea. But with the round, as you're going down, the round stock goes through this groove and you'll feed it through. But every time you feed it through, if you feed it through this direction and you do about a quarter turn and feed it through, it wants to turn. So you can never have a perfectly, it always wants to turn and mush, and because it's round, there's nothing really holding it in place. So as it feeds through, sometimes it'll, turn. Sometimes it gets squished out. So as the two round parts are going down, you have metal that's kind of coming out long ways. You're squeezing it out and it's stretching the metal. But in here you also have metal that squishes out of those two sides. So you have the round, and if the tighter you go and the closer you get, you start having these little pieces of metal push out here on the sides, and then you have to clean that up. If you don't pay attention and take care of it while you're rolling it, then you have to sand it or file it or figure out how to get those long pieces off, because if you leave it, then the next time you go over to the next slot, it pushes those splinters up into the silver, and then later when you polish it, you'll have these chunks of silver that pulls out of your wire. So it can be a little bit of a headache. Last night when I rolled through this, it seemed, I went down 3 different sizes. I never had any metal squish out the sides. I never had any sharp splinters on the edges of my silver. It really rolled out perfectly. You feed the square wire in, and you can do a quarter turn, you can feed it in, and it goes the exact same way every single time. You don't ever have to worry about your wire sliding out of the groove. It's so much easier, in my opinion, than the round. I didn't believe it. That's originally why I bought the round, is that in my head, that was the way for me to go. And it was not. The square was the way that I should have gone to begin with. But thankfully, the guys at Rio Grande, after the original mess up with the broken machine, it wasn't their fault, but they truly helped me out with getting me the one that I needed. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you're in the market for a mill, the Durstons are awesome. They really are. There's cheaper options. This one's $1,400 or $1,600. The one I had before this was $2,100, but they had a sale that was 20% off, so I bought one for about $400 or $500 cheaper than that. So if you pay attention, I'm not sure how often Rio Grande has sales like that, but that's a great deal. So pay attention. You can buy a cheaper one. They have cheaper ones, and they work. All you're doing is you're drawing out metal. So any way you can do that, you can do it with a hammer and an anvil. You don't have to have the biggest and the best equipment, but if you plan on doing it for a long time, I don't like stuff breaking. I don't like having to mess with stuff, so I really like to get good equipment off the bat, and then that way all I have to worry about is what I'm creating. I don't have to worry about the equipment. But either way, I think if you buy a cheap one online, I don't think you'll have an issue. You're more likely to have issues, but I think you can make it work. If you got the spare money, or if you are willing to go out on a limb for it, I think it's a great investment. You know, they last forever, and you know, at least to my, you know, so far my experience, Durston and Rio Grande definitely stand by the product. So there's nothing to worry about there. If you got any questions, feel free to ask, and I would like to make a few videos in the future of making some jewelry, turning some metal out. I started using the laser to cut some shapes and press it into the metal, so that's really interesting. I thought that was cool. Anyways, y'all take it easy. I appreciate watching the video, and y'all have a good day.